Greetings, welcome to the 8th Baz tutorial. Today we're going to make a polyphonic sampler using the playback of buffers where we have sounds loaded into RAM. So the first thing I'll make is a buffer. Make a new object by clicking the N on my keyboard and typing the word buffer with the tilde and give it a name. We're going to call this one samp. Another space and the name of a sample to load in there. Let's just go with Anton.aif. And again, Anton.aif is one of those sounds that is in your search path because it's in some examples that come in the tutorials or the examples folder. Alright, we could again verify that there is indeed such a thing as Anton by holding down the command key on a Mac control on a PC if you like, and holding that key down while double clicking the buffer, and we can see here some graphic representation of that sound loaded into the buffer. We'll make another one of these, and so I'm just going to hold down the Option key on my Mac or Alt on my PC to duplicate that. Hold it down while dragging. I'm going to call this one 2samp, believe it or not, and I'll load a different sample in there, otherwise it wouldn't make a lot of sense. And we'll put in the old Cherokee, which we can remember fondly from way back. And just for good measure, let's make one more. So again, holding my Option on my Mac or Alt on my PC, clicking and dragging. And we call this one 3samp, and I'll replace the name here. Instead of Cherokee, let's go for show, SHO 0630. I don't know where these samples come from, but I know you've got them. That's the main thing. So again, we can hold down the command key on a Mac or control on PC, double click them, make sure they're there. That would be my Cherokee. That would be my show, and we can see the name of the buffer on the top. Okay, 1samp, 2samp, 3samp. Let's play these back using an object called play, which we'll click N on the keyboard again to make a new object, and we'll call it play. Yes, indeed. And just for the fun of it, to start, let's just put the name of one of those samples in there. 1samp. Alright. And let's use a line tilde, which we've used before for amplitude, but now we'll use it to play back this sample. Again, N on the keyboard, typing in line tilde, and that's all. So the line is going to, if we scroll over the inlet of that play tilde, it says sample time to play in milliseconds. This line tilde is what we're going to use to output a ramp of time starting at the beginning, which would be 0, and going to the end, which if we again hold down the command key on our Mac or control on PC, if we double click the play object, we'll see that this sample is approximately, well, we'll say 2.5 seconds, 2,500 milliseconds, even though that's not entirely true, probably. Alright, so I'm going to make a new message, just clicking the M key on my keyboard for message, M for message 0, which is going to be where we start in the sample, then a comma, in case you can't see that, which you probably can't, comma, and if it's 2.5 milliseconds, 2.5 seconds, 2,500 milliseconds, that's great, right there. So we're going to start at 0, and that's what the comma is for, is to separate out a single item in this message from this, which is a list, which says we're going to 2,500 milliseconds or whatever. Line doesn't care. We're going to 2,500 over 2,500. So we're going to the value of 2,500 over the time of 2,500 milliseconds, which will read through that sample at pitch. We'll connect the outlet of that message to the left inlet of line tilde. We'll put one of our favorite easy DACs in here, which again, I think my only way I can remember is from the palette, so I'll double click to bring up the palette, get an easy DAC. hook up the outlet of the play tilde to the inlets of the DAC tilde, and assuming all is working properly, I can hold the command or control key to start the DAC and then click the message to play it back. Awesome. So now instead of, the next stage in this thing is that we want to be able to set these different samples using this one play object. So for that, let's use a message. So again, M on my keyboard, and I'm going to set, this will be the sample number. I'm going to say $1, which is a replaceable argument, and no space, because this will be 1 samp, 2 samp, 3 samp, no space, samp. Okay, set $1 samp. We can, I know I haven't zoomed in today yet, look at that. So we've got set $1 samp. Awesome. Okay, let's put the set message into the play tilde right here, and let's make a number box to change this value right here. So let's say a number is I on our keyboard, so if we just hit I, we come up with a number box, taking the left outlet of that number box into our set message, and we should be able to set different samples here. Well, I'm going to lock the patch here for a minute. I'll put the 1 in there, and that's our first sample. Here's our 2 samp, and here's our 3 samp. Alright, we could just hook up a bang in between here and here, or maybe just even hook this up to here to trigger the output of this message. That'll work. But you can, well, maybe you don't know that sample too well, but it doesn't go all the way to the end of the sample. What we would like is to have an object that could give us the length of the sample that we're going to play, so we know what numbers these will be. And we do have such an object, and it is called info tilde. So I'm going to make a new object with my N key, and I'm going to make something called info tilde. I could give it a name. Again, this will be replaced by that set message up here. So we're going to get the name of, we're going to set the name of this thing to info. If we scroll over the inlet of info, it says bang outputs the information. So we're also going to need a bang. Okay, so for a bang, I'm going to use a trusty button, which is B on my keyboard. If I just click a B, up pops my button, and I'll stick my number box into my button, and maybe I'll move this over here, this up here a little, make it all look groovy. And then we're going to bang this info tilde to get information out of it. So it's going to set the name of the sample and then bang the information out. The sort of information you can get from info tilde is all sorts of goodies: sampling rate, sample instrument info, sustain loop, release loop. Yes, and the thing I'm interested in is total time in milliseconds, which is the second outlet from the right. So let's use that second outlet from the right to set something in this message box, very similar to what we did here. We're going to say $1, which is going to be the time in milliseconds, and $1, which is also the time in milliseconds, coming from this, the second from the right outlet of info tilde into that message. Alright, so now it should play all of these samples in their entirety. That's great.